folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Den. Today we're fishing at Den's Pond. Now it's called that because it's 200 metres from Den's house and Den's the only one that fishes it, and of course I'm Den. So let's have a quick look at the pond itself, shall we? So here it is then. It's a lovely day. The pond itself is just about triangular, and it's about 250 metres on each side. It's right on the edge of a housing estate, which is very common these days to a lot of these little ponds. Originally this pond was just a cow pasture, and if you look, maybe I can zoom in for you, maybe you can see the barbed wire fence which still runs through the middle of it. Doesn't get in the way, but it's just a reminder of what this used to be, just a dry paddock. On the other side of the dam there's a creek which I sometimes fish, and we'll do a video about that at some other time. But for the moment then, we're at Den's Pond, so let's do some fishing with Den. So let's have a look at the tackle we're going to be using then. Going to be using the size 14 hook as usual. I'll put a single piece of sweet corn on that, or some bread. Going up, it's about 3 or 4 feet deep here. I've got a homemade float, which is called a Waggler in the UK. Mine's a bit different in that you can take the tips out and you can interchange them for different colours or thicknesses as you need to. But it's a very simple setup. Bait wise, I'm going to be using some sweet corn, corn kernels. I've got some chicken layer pellets which I've thrown some turmeric on just to give them some flavour. Got some ground bait, or chum or burley, depending on where you're from. And I do have a few slices of bread just in case. Now there are a few carp in here, there's some mullet. Don't think there's much else, but it's possible there's bass because there's a creek on the other side there, and it may well be that when that overflows some of those fish get deposited in here. But I think now let's get to do some fishing, shall we? So I'm fishing about 20 or so metres out. I've just put some ground bait in, some burley, and we'll see how we go from here. You probably can't see my float, but let me zoom in a little bit, and hopefully now you can. That's it folks, it's as simple as that. Now all we've got to do is wait. So just as the initial feed then, I've thrown in 4 balls of ground bait around the float, and inside that ground bait we've got some of those chicken layer pellets and some corn kernels. And the idea is that should hopefully start to produce in about half an hour. Down at the side, just to my right and no more than sort of a metre out, I put in 2 or 3 handfuls of pellets and corn. The idea is that sometimes the fish come in right close, especially after a couple of hours, and we can catch literally a metre from the bank or less. So let's see. Well, considering I'm next to a rather large housing estate, you wouldn't think it. You can hear the odd car in the background, but mostly all you can hear is the cicadas, the birds, and you get the occasional dog walker coming along to say good day to you. What a lovely place. And here's the other benefit of fishing at Den's Pond. You get free coffee delivered whenever you like.
Absolutely.
This is my beautiful assistant.
And with a smile.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
When I first started the day, I fed 4 balls of ground bait around about where that duck is now. It usually takes a little while for them to come in, but whilst I was at it I also fed just at about sort of 8 or 9 metres to the left here, and I also fed a large handful of pellets and corn down right in the edge, because you can often catch right in the edge here. Now it is only 2 feet deep there instead of 3 feet, or 60 centimetres instead of a metre. But I'm just going to use the rig as it is, and all I'm going to do, not even going to cast, I'm just going to put that in, pull it back over to where I'm throwing the bait in, and let's see what happens. Obviously if I was doing this in a competition or a match, I'd shallow the depth up and I'd make sure that I was properly at the depth, because the fish could be on the end without me knowing it for some time because of the extra length of line that's lying on the bottom. You'll know if they're there because the float will start to move around, dither, bounce up and down as the fish bump into the line. You'll also know when you've got a bite because it'll just slide away as the fish moves along. Now I've spread that bait out over quite an area. It's probably something like 1.5 meters square. So as I catch a fish, they always spook down there, but they tend to come back as well. But having a slightly larger area means I can sort of fish either closer in or further out, and then if I catch one I can fish the opposite area to where I just caught that fish. It does mean I catch a few more that way, but you don't catch too many down here in the side before they decide to disappear because they're spooked. So then you go back to one of the other areas you've baited up and try and catch there again. There's no movement so far, and normally if they're there you'll get the indication. I don't know if you can see that dragonfly that's landed on the end of my float there. Okay, let's try a bit further over. Get rid of some of that muck. Hold on. Bottom's not too bad here, but there is a bit of this weed on it. There we go. So let's just try a little bit further over. Not even taking the bail arm off and casting, just a underarm flick, sink the line. It's a bit of a breeze today, so you don't want the float pulling out of position. He said, there we go, that's just sorted out that line problem. Just set the clutch a little bit lighter because if you do catch a fish down here they tear off, and you have to make sure that you don't have the back wind set. You need to be able to either back wind or have the clutch set so that when the fish takes off you do allow it to run a bit, otherwise you will get snapped off. Nope, not here yet. Okay, so let's cast out again. There we go. Sink the line, so drop the rod in, pull hard. This is especially important when it's calm like this. When the wind's on the pond it does help you to sink the line enormously, but when it's almost flat calm but with just a slight skimming wind, it does mean that you end up with a situation where you have the line pulling off to one side or the other and pulling your float out of position, and you're never going to catch a fish that way because it just looks totally unnatural. Okay, time to feed some more ground bait. I've put some more pellets and some sweet corn into the mix, making something about the size of a largish golf ball. And the idea then is to throw them in around your float. There we go. Do this every half an hour or so if you're not getting bites. You might want to put 3 or 4 in, it's entirely up to you. Today is a bit slow. We've had some rain recently, which has meant that the overflow from all the roads and drains comes straight into this pond, which keeps it full. And I think all the salt and the rubber and all the rest of it tends to put the fish off for a few days after that, so that may be the reason. The other alternative could just be that I'm not good enough to catch them, but generally I do catch a few fish in here. There we go. Whoa, good job I had that clutch set a bit looser. And the trouble is they always want to come back in to where you've just caught them, so just take it very slowly. You don't want to spook everything. Hopefully they'll swim off, come out of the way. It's only 2 feet deep, 600 millimeters down there, so just keep it out of that way, let it go a bit further away, then put some more pressure on, and back it goes down to where you were just fishing, just to ruin where you were. The trouble is it spooks all the other fish. Still, we've got one. Only small, but it just goes to show the principle. Try and keep him out of the way, go that way, that's better. Not a big fish, just makes for an enjoyable day. And there we go. So this is the difference then. This one is a common carp, and you can see these whiskers here, or barbules. That's how they feed. And hook, barbless hook, just slips out, and nice little fish, maybe a kilo. I'm seeing an occasional slight bobbing of the float, so I'm actually going to take this down to the actual depth of the water. Let's try that now. Okay, I'll pull the shot all the way down to this one, take about 18 inches off. I'm using a Waggler adapter, so it means I can just pull that down, that'll hold it in place, and once I've removed the hook from my towel, we can have another go. Good fun down the edge. Really exciting. And don't be fooled, you can catch as many and bigger fish down the edge as you can further out sometimes. It's not where the tiddlers hang out, it's often where the bigger ones hang out. Ah! You can't win them all, can you? Just pulled out of it. Unfortunately, that can happen sometimes. And that was even with the clutch set fairly slack, but hey, that's life. Ouch. Only small. What fun though. What absolute fun. Just goes to show you can catch fish 30 centimetres off the top of your rod tip. Not huge, just great fun. Oh, got a bit of a mark underneath. Hold still, fish. See about getting the hook out. There we go, hook just in the corner. That's automatic unhooking and into the net. Doesn't matter what size they are, they may not be huge, but what better way to spend the day? Absolutely perfect. What a country Australia is, eh? Oh dear, they're getting smaller. Wow, tiny fish. Well, like I said, they don't have to be big to be enjoyable. Great fun. Well, this one's not doing the swim any good. Whoa. This one swallowed the hook, so it's as good a time as any for me to show you the disgorger right down his throat. Put the disgorger in, clip it through, and there we go. Hook out, very easy. Saves you losing a hook. Don't know if you can see this, guys, I'll show you now. This carp has the hook in its mouth there, but as it was coming in it was caught on this dorsal fin, and if you see there's a load of serrations on it. There's another one on the anal fin, and these often get caught around your float, and even though I've come shallower, he's still deep hooked. Oops. However, trusty disgorger works every time. It's that time again then, folks. I've just had a text from the wife. It said, come home now or dinner in dog. So would appear I seem to be packing up at this point. Anyway, I've had a good day. Haven't caught what I normally do. Normally I catch at the 20-metre point out in the lake there, but today that just wasn't happening. But I did have two other areas I fed, one at about 9 metres to my left, and the other one was just down in front of me, literally no more than a foot, 30 centimetres or so off the end of my rod top. So had a great day. Hope you did too. Hope you've learned a few things. I'm not saying I'm the world's most expert angler, but hopefully I can impart some knowledge for you and some tips, especially for people in Australia and possibly America who don't really see the UK style of fishing. If it's something you want to see more of, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and if you like this video, don't forget to click the like button below. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.